Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Azam bin Ahmad Bakir. I'm a senior lecturer at the Department of Applied Mechanics and Design under the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at University Technology Malaysia. Today, I'll be presenting a bit about my multiphysics modeling of human heart, which is my main research interest throughout my research career. So, the main goal of why we are doing this multiphysics human heart modeling is we want to simulate invasive treatments that can be quite dangerous to be done on actual human or even animals, which can be ethically problem. And with this model, we can actually make use of it to predict outcomes for different kind of treatments. Okay, and with using this model, we can make use of the model to evaluate whether the treatment is safe and whether we can make further adjustment to improve the efficacy of such treatment. Basically, how our heart works. As we know, we can see if we were to put some electrodes on our chest within our body, we can form electrical signal called ECG. Okay, we can view the electrical signal. So typically, the behavior of the heart or the physiology of the heart begins with an electrical signal that transverse across the human heart. So with that electrical signal, what it does, it triggers the muscle to contract. So as the electrical waveform travel throughout the heart, the muscle also contracts. And with that collection of muscle contracting at a certain rhythm, the entire organs move. And this generates the pumping motion that drives the blood flow within our body. With this, the blood ejected out, and then this goes to the entire cardiovascular system. So essentially, what happens here, there's multiple physics involved in order to drive the function of the heart. It starts with some chemical reaction within the cells that generate the electrical signal, and this translate to a mechanical behavior where the muscles start contracting. And since it's composed of millions of cells, these cells work together that generate the unique pattern of cardiac mechanics and that drives the blood motion. But how can we translate all these different physical behavior of the heart into into a computerized versions or model of the heart? So to do this, what we do is we implement mathematical equations and then implement them using finite element method. So typically for the electrical behavior, we have to simulate it by simulating a phenomenon called action potential. So the electrical behavior of the heart is initiated by something called action potential. And this action potential, it's uh, generated an active stress within the muscle. And this muscle, it drives the deformation of the heart chamber, which gave rise to the unique mechanic of human heart. With this, as the wall move, it compress the blood within the chamber, generating the pressure, which can actually be represented by the typical Navier-Stokes equation that can be implemented for incompressible flow. And this later can be coupled with Windkessel type circulation. So Windkessel type circulation is a representation of the entire human circulation system by using a simplified electrical equivalent circuit. And all of this govern the behavior of the heart. Okay. On the right side, I have an images from CT images. So this is taken from CT images of human heart and actual human. And then we can actually segment it, just the heart, and get the geometry or the domain that we want to solve on. So what's the output that we can typically see? So normally for a human heart, normally we will try to verify the model to show that it can actually generate uh, the standard human heart behavior. On the left side, you can see there's a picture of pressure volume plot. So pressure volume plot is actually a way where we can characterize whether the heart is functioned normally or not. So typically, we can expect the behavior of the left ventricular pressure or the pressure within the left chamber of the heart and the left ventricular volume or the volume of the ventricle of the left chamber of the heart. It should form like a boxy plot like what we shown here. Okay, so in the event, let's say we have a valve disease, so the chamber will leak some of the blood a bit, and this shape will alter a bit. It will no longer be boxy as what we shown here. And with this model, we can actually also observe how the mechanical behavior of the heart. So here we can see the heart contracts. As the heart contracts, we can see the muscle is ejecting the blood, signified by the stream. Um, and as the heart is being filled again, we can see blood flow vortices form. So all these characteristics can be used to actually identify if there's any uh, issue. If we were to simulate some issue with the heart, we can actually make use of it. So with this model later on, we can actually make use to experiment just inside the computer without actually finding an animal or another human to test. So we can do all sort of testing just within this model. So everything is done in a much safer way. So what we do with this model, we can perform some predictive work. Like I said earlier, what we do is we want to anticipate what will happen if we were to make changes to the model parameter. For example, I can make use of the model to simulate ischemic heart disease. So ischemic heart disease is a disease that caused when some part of the heart muscle no longer receive ample amount of oxygen. So this could be due to some blockage in the coronary system or the blood vessel that supplied oxygen to the heart. So what happened is the some part of the heart slowly dying, and this actually alter the electrical behavior. So as you can see in the picture, there's some part that's having some light blue area. That part is the ischemic part. So that part is no longer um contracting. It's no longer contributing to the mechanic of the heart, and it alter the behavior of the entire heart model. And also it shows that we are ejecting less blood as what we've seen in actual patient. And we can also make use of this to simulate some cases called left bundle branch block or LBBB. So these cases, what happened was the pathway to activate the heart to the left chamber is being cut off. So what happened was there's some dysynchrony in the activation of the heart. So what happened was with this, it makes the heart less efficient in order to restore the capability of the heart. So what surgeon did is typically they will implant some electrode to generate to actually generate the electricity in the heart to restore some of the capability back. However, it is hard to tell where would be the best place to place the electrodes because of the irregular shape. It's not quite obvious where we can put the electrode placing. So with this model, we can tell and we can test multiple times before we actually do that on the real patient. And we can also simulate behavior like left ventricular assist device. So left ventricular assist device or LVAD is a device that's used when there's a severe heart failure. So typically patient that cannot receive heart transplant, so they will need to be put with this, they need to be implanted by this LVAD device. However, this LVAD is actually just a traditional centrifugal pump However, in some cases, because there's variability in cardiac output, sometimes the pump might be over pumping. So in those cases, we can see that the heart chamber can collapse, like shown here, which is which is an event that we don't want because it can actually injure the heart further. So one way to do this is we can implement this on our model and actually simulate such event. And from what my experience in the past, we can actually show that when this suction happens, we can actually detect to the change in the pump behavior. We can actually detect to the change of the pump current and other parameters. And with this, we can design a much better controller algorithm for the pump. So, what's the future of this work? So, at the moment, what we hope to be achieving maybe in the near future is to make it more personalized, meaning that let's say if one patient goes to the doctor and they do a CT images of their heart, we can translate that to a model and make use of that to predict what will happen to this patient in the future, or if we were to give a certain treatment, what would happen to the heart. So, something that we call as a digital twin, and since patient to patient, there's a lot of variability. So using this model, we can tell early on before we actually implemented the treatment. However, this is still a much further way to go, but it's something that we can look forward in the near future. So, if you are interested for any final year project with our our project. These are some kind of works that you might be working on. For example, on heart implant interaction. For example, we can also simulate how does the cardiac system interacting with implants such as cardiac stent or LVAD devices I showed earlier. We can also study disease development, for example, heart attack or ischemic heart attack. So what we can do is we can make use of the model to figure out what would be the indicator before the heart disease actually develop. We can also perform model on the blood vessels within the ventricle or within the heart muscle called coronary artery. So coronary artery is itself is quite interesting because a lot of heart disease originated from coronary artery. For example, if you have atherosclerosis or blocked artery due to fatty deposit, sometimes cellular remodeling. Um, so understanding how does this occurs is actually quite important because it gives clinicians some capability to predict and prevent before it actually happens. So that's it for me. Uh, and thank you.